Hey everybody, it's Will, aka Wilbon84. I'm going to be doing a tutorial today on how to car launch and how to skydive in Pacific Drive. This was originally discovered, I believe, by Ckixy on YouTube. Their tutorial on how to car launch will be in the description. I'm going to go over the basics of how to do it, but most of this video is going to be talking about the strategy of how to use it in an actual run, because up until this point it hasn't really been used, and I've been using it to help route the unrestricted category of this game. The reason why we use it in the unrestricted category is because if done correctly and fast, it is faster than driving across an entire map when you can just launch in a straight line directly towards the exit. And because we can turn car damage and player damage off, so we don't worry about actually taking any damage when we launch the car, and we can jump out of the car mid-air and not worry about taking damage when we fall. So that kind of loops into skydiving, which we'll talk about in a bit. But the basic, if you don't know what car launching is, basically I'll let you take a look at the car right here. We have stripped the car of all outer parts. So all doors, all bumpers, and all side plates have been taken off. I've left the headlights on just because those are useful for the run. I have some different tires. It doesn't really matter what tires you have. And what we're going to do is we take the Liberator and we kind of crouch, and we're going to place a few shots underneath the car. You can hold the Liberator down. You can place any number of shots. We usually I try to keep it consistent, so I always place 3 shots to try to keep my launch distance and height pretty consistent. So you'll place it under the car, and the car will launch itself in the air. Now, it will not launch unless you have at least 2 tires taken off of the car. So I split launches into what I call half launches and full launches. Half launches is when we take 2 tires, specifically the 2 back tires, off of the car. And full launches will be taking all of the tires off the car. This will affect how high it goes and the distance. And we'll talk about some other factors of how the actual physical launch works. But first I want to talk about kind of the strategy. So when we get into a map, I'll always look at the map first to see where the exit is. And here's some things you're going to be looking for. If the exit, let's say if we entered from here and the exit was right here, this is too short of a distance to do a launch. So I'd usually probably just drive this, especially since we just have a normal road here. So this will just be an easy drive. We don't want to worry about launching the car because it does take time to get out, to take the tires off, etc., etc. If it was all the way over here like it is now, I would consider doing a full launch. So full launches can get you all the way across the map, pretty much corner to corner if done correctly. And half launches can get you anywhere from a quarter to about halfway across the map. So let's say if we had a destination here, or maybe like here, this would be a half launch. So we'd only take 2 tires off the backside, and then we could do a launch. But again, if we have basically the full length of the map to go, that's going to be requiring a full launch. Now, what are some reasons I wouldn't do a launch here? Well, we have a bunch of hills. Anything that, if we hit anything in the air, the car will spin during the launch, and this will cause us to lose a bunch of height, and essentially it steers us off course. So whenever we're launching, we want the straightest line possible because we only launch in a straight line, and we want the sky to be as clear as possible. And I really emphasize, if you hit the telephone pole, if you barely clip a tree, if the car hits a rock that's on the road, that you're sitting kind of on a rock, and any of those things can make the launch not as good as you want it. It can steer us off course. So we're looking for flat ground to put the car on, and we're looking for a straight shot. So one reason I might not do a launch here, in fact, if this was an actual run, I would definitely not do a launch, is because we have this curve that we have to get around. One other reason to avoid trying to shoot directly over a hill like this is because not only can we most of the time not launch over the hill. We'll either slam into the hill, we'll hit a tree on the hill or something like that, or a mountain, depending on how big this is. But there's also boundary walls. So boundary walls work in mysterious ways in this game. Basically, from wherever we enter, there's a boundary wall back here, and our respawn point is set back there. If I launch out of bounds, let's say if I launch backwards from here, I will most likely respawn with the car back at the beginning of the map. If, for example, I launch so far, and this is possible, you do a full launch all the way towards the exit and you go past the exit, a lot of times you will respawn back at the beginning. Sometimes, and I emphasize sometimes, some boundary walls will respawn you to the closest exit. So sometimes if you launch too far, you actually respawn right next to the exit. This also happens in random corners of the map. So sometimes if you launch, let's say, up into this hill and you go into the boundary wall, sometimes it'll respawn you like there. It's inconsistent. It depends on the map. It depends on where you've driven. It depends on, like, you know, how high this area is. It's very inconsistent. So I don't try to mess with that. I don't try to exploit that because it's just too inconsistent. So whenever I launch, I am trying to launch pretty much as close as I can to the exit, but I don't want to go past it. So if I was launching here, I'd probably aim for this. I'd aim for some low ground near the road that I can quickly put my tires back on and kind of drive back up here, etc., etc. There's also some boundary walls that are on the top of the map, that are in the sky. These are mostly on top of mountains. So if we were on top of this mountain here and we did a full launch wherever, we might hit that top boundary wall because we're so high up, and it'll respawn us back at the entrance. So another thing to think about, this really doesn't happen unless you're already in a really high location and you do like a full launch. If you're up here somewhere though and you do a half launch, you're probably going to be safe. So all that being said, let's do just a half launch. I'm going to drive to kind of this area because, again, we need a straight line. So I'm going to drive to about here, and we're going to try to launch this way. All right, so we're kind of at our location now. I am on a flat road, which is good. I kind of have a straight shot. You know, I might clip this little kind of hill here. Hopefully there's not too many trees. Hopefully that's not too high. But I mostly have a straight shot. Something I'm thinking about, I'm probably not going to get over this hill. So I'm probably going to slam in here. So if I was setting a waypoint, I'd probably set my waypoint here because I'm expecting to kind of slam into this hill. And I want to just get onto this road very quickly. This would definitely be a half launch. A full launch would probably send us over this hill and probably into the boundary wall, which we don't want. And the reason why I always set a waypoint is because you need to line up the car correctly. So when we're lining up the car, I look at my waypoint across the passenger side, and we want to try to line up where the waypoint is pretty much perpendicular with the car. So right about there should be fine. I'm going to put the car in park. If you're doing a full launch, you don't need to put the car in park because you, unless you're on a hill, because you won't have any tires, so your car's not going to move. With 2 tires off, though, our car is going to slide around, so we put it in park. You can pretty much put it in park just to be safe every time. We take the 2 back tires off because there's a lot of different things that affect the car launch. If you have, let's say we took the first 2, we took these tires off, the car might be slanted like this. It might be even more. Here, I'll just show you. If it's slanted like this, our car is going to most likely spin in the air. We don't want it to spin. We want it to do a nice flat launch. So let me put this back on. And the flattest launches we get are either with the 2 back tires off or, again, all the tires off. So from here, my car is set up perpendicular. Looking around, there's not a lot of trees here. I'm not going to hit anything in the air, at least from where we're launching. Again, we're on flat ground. The car is not on any weird bumps that might affect it. I'm going to line up basically with the middle frame here. with the car, crouch down. I'm looking at the waypoint. I'm kind of aiming towards a waypoint. And then we're going to do 3 shots. Where the shots are placed will affect how high and how far the car goes. So if I placed these pretty much directly under the car, if I placed all 3 shots directly under the car would shoot up in the air straight and fall down straight. So what I like to aim for is kind of get about this far away. I try to place 2 shots just under the car, like kind of just under where the driver's seat is. And then I walk towards the car and I'll place 1 more a little further out to give it more distance. So this is all physics based and it's a little random. So let's go 1, 2, 3. And then we can get in the car and we launch. Now unfortunately it's foggy so we can't see, but we can use the map to kind of see where we're going and where we're going to end up. We can see we're already falling and we are on the ground. So that is a pretty successful launch. We also landed right side up. Obviously you can get out and just teleport the car if it's in a weird place. And then we'd throw the wheels back on and continue. Alright, now I'm going to show you a full launch. I just entered a new map, and we're just going to read the map right away. If I was trying to get to this anchor, I would do a full launch here, and because there's hills here, I'm going to see if I can get to a spot right about here in the map and launch kind of through these mountains. Because we're also on top of a mountain, we should be pretty clear for a good launch, but we just want to make sure. So yeah, that looks fine. So you can see kind of, I got this little path through. So I'm going to back up, get in position with my marker here on a flat road. That looks pretty good there. Yeah, that should be fine. We're going to take our wheels off. You can only carry 2 wheels with the normal backpack, so you do have to place 2 in your inventory, or sorry, your storage, car storage, and then you can hold 2. So this will be a full launch. All the tires are off the car. It works the same way. We're going to aim for the same spots with our Liberator, and then we're just going to get in the car, and you'll see how far we go. And that's great, so we didn't clip anything. You can kind of see how high we're going. We are descending already, so this might be a little bit short. Yeah, quite a bit shorter than we'd like. And that might just be due to where my Liberator shots were. I probably didn't have enough height, but you guys get the basic idea. We would just warp the car from here and then put our tires back on real quick and get to the next spot. So I'm going to show you guys one more trick. This is called, I'm just calling it skydiving. This is going to be jumping out of the car mid-air. The use for this is pretty specific. I do use it in the mid-zone run, at least so far, if you want to check that out. But if we were launching the car as far as we could, let's say if we had an exit here, but we had an objective in the middle between our A and B point that we still had to get to, we can launch the car towards the last objective, but jump out of the car about halfway through. Let's say if we had to visit this house. We can jump out of the car here while we're in the air, go do this objective, and then use crouch jumping to clip through the floor and warp back to our car. So I'm going to position, let's say we're just trying to get past this house. Let's say we're trying to get around there. That's our marker. So I'm going to set the marker here, but we want to exit the car there. And I'm going to show you another trick that I use. If you're in a weird area like this, we're kind of like on some uneven ground, there's trees and everything. Because whenever we teleport the car, it always teleports driver's side facing us and perpendicular. We could pretty much teleport the car to the exact spot where we're going to launch it anyway. So if I just line myself up with my waypoint and just teleport the car, it's already going to be in perfect position for us to launch. I don't have to move it anymore. I can just take the wheels off and instantly go for a launch. I'm going to do a full launch just so we make sure that we get all the way to our objective. and then I'll show you skydiving. So, let's see. Gonna grab one more Liberator. I'm gonna shoot. We're hopefully gonna clear that tree. I'm gonna look at my map for the house, and then I'm gonna jump out right before we reach the house. And the thing about skydiving is your momentum does not carry with the car. So you want to jump out right as your marker passes whatever the objective is, because you will instantly stop all your momentum and fall straight down. You can't affect your momentum your player momentum in the air at all. So let's do this. It's hard to see. So that looks like a clean launch. We're there. I'm gonna exit the car about now. There goes the car, and you can see all of our momentum stops. We're dropping down, and we should be close to our house. Yeah, so there's our little research facility, and that is skydiving. So let's say we had to, you know, stabilize something. We come up here, we scan it, we do whatever, and then we can use crouch jumping, which I haven't tried here, so hopefully it works. Which, if you don't know how crouch jumping works, basically we have our crouch bound to our scroll wheel, and if you spam that and jump at the same time, you can fall through the floor, and you will hit a death barrier, and it'll always respawn you back in your driver's seat. So now we've done our objective, and we're back in the car. And we can see that we indeed made it quite a bit, you know, pretty close to our objective there. So that would be a really successful car launch and skydive. The only place that this has been useful for me, I'm hoping to find some more uses for it, is the mission called Stabilizing Our Way Through, where you have 3 objectives, like one here, one here, one here, and I do the first objective, and then I launch the car towards the second objective, and I get out just like I did to do the second one, and then use crouch jump glitch to warp back to the car. The only other thing I want to mention is this is on the newest patch of the game. If you're running the old patch, this still works, and even better, you can get the infinite liberator by doing the duplication glitch. So if you just duplicate a liberator, there's a tutorial also on Ckixy's channel you can check out. You don't need to craft multiple liberators. You can just have one that fires infinitely. And the liberator has, if you do 3 shots, it has about 2 uses, so that is something that you want to watch out for. If you're doing a half launch or a full launch, you want to make sure you have at least 3 shots in the liberator before you go. So I think that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.